Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirye Nashtiprayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Per Bhavati Nashtike. So, continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, today we are starting new chapter, chapter 65. Lord Balram visits Vrindavan. Next one. Shri Shukavacha, Balbhadra Kuru Shrishta, Bhagwan Ratham Astita, Suhrad Dridrukshur Utkantha, Prayayo Nanda Gokulam. Shukdev Goswami said, the best of the Kurus, once Lord Balram, eager to visit his well-wishing friends, mounted his chariot and traveled to Nanda Gokul. So from Dwarka, he went to Vrindavan. Srila Jiva Goswami points out Lord Balram's journey to Vrindavan. Remembering the deep friendship he once enjoyed with the cowherd folk, Lord Ram went alone to Vraj, having taken Lord Krishna's permission. The simple residents of Vrindavan were aggrieved that Lord Krishna had gone to live elsewhere, so Lord Balram went there to console them. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur addresses the question of why Lord Krishna, the great ocean of pure love, did not also go to Braj. In explanation, the Acharya provides the following statements. The Yadus thought the Lord's beloved girlfriends are famous for their pure, ecstatic love, and his parents are extremely affectionate towards him. Lord Krishna is controlled by pure love, so if he goes to see them, how will he be able to leave them and come back to us? With this in mind, the Yadus prevented Lord Hari from going, knowing that he becomes subservient to the pastimes in which he reciprocates the ever-increasing love of the inhabitants of Braja. But once he does go there, and that is, I guess I'll tell that story during Rath Yatra, Lord Jagannath's Rath Yatra. Lord Jagannath also every year he goes on his Rath Yatra. So that is considered Dwarka, where his temple is, and he goes to Gundija temple that is considered non-different from Vrindavan. But that is pastime, he comes back in 9 days. But here in this pastime, Krishna did not go. Parishvaktash chirotkanthar goper gopi bhirevacha ramo bhivadya pitrao ashir bhir abhinandita. Having thus suffered the anxiety of separation, the cowherd men and their wives embraced Lord Balram. The Lord then offered respects to his parents, and they joyfully greeted him with prayers. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the following words regarding this situation. Let us repeatedly glorify Lord Balram, although he is the original personality of eternal bliss, Nityananda. He felt pained by his love for the residents of Braj, and thus he went to see them, even at the cost of leaving Krishna. Chiram na pahi dashara sanujo jagadishvara iti aropya ankam alingya netra sishit chaturjala. Nanda and Yashoda prayed, O descendant of Dasharha, Lord of the universe, may you and your younger brother Krishna ever protect us. Saying this, they raised Sri Balram onto their laps, embraced him, and moistened him with tears from their eyes. Srila Jiva Goswami comments on this verse as follows. Nanda and Yashoda prayed to Sri Balram, may you, along with your younger brother, protect us. Thus they expressed their respect for the fact that he is the elder brother, and they also showed how much they considered him their own son. On one side, they're saying, may you always protect us, and then they're raising Balramji onto their laps, embracing them, like their child and moistening him with tears from their eyes. गोपवृद्धांश विधिवत यविष्ठैर अभिवंदिता यथा वयो यथा सख्यम यथा संबंधम आत्मनः समुपेत्याथ गोपाल हास्य हस्त गृहादिभि विश्रांतं सुखमासीनं पपृच्छु पर्युपागतः पृष्ठाश्चानामयं स्वेषु प्रेम गद्गद्या गिरा कृष्णे कमलपत्राक्षे सन्न्यस्ताखिल राधसः. Lord Balram then paid proper respects to the elder cowherd men, and the younger ones all greeted him respectfully. He met them all with smiles, handshakes, and so on, dealing personally with each one according to age, degree of friendship, and family relationship. Then, after resting, the Lord accepted a comfortable seat, and they all gathered around him. With voices faltering out of love for him, those cowherds who had dedicated everything to lotus-eyed Krishna asked about the health of their dear ones in Dwarka, and Balram in turn asked about the cowherds' welfare. Kachino bandhava Rama sarve kushalam haste kachit smarat no Rama yuyam darasupanvita. The cowherd said, "O Ram, are all our relatives doing well? And Ram, do all of you with your wives and children still remember us?" Dishtya kanso hata papo, dishtya mukta suhrit jana, nihatya nirjitya ripuna, dishtya durgam samashrita. It's our great fortune that sinful Kansa has been killed and our dear relatives have been freed. And it's also a great good fortune that our relatives have killed and defeated their enemies and found complete security in a great fortress. So they knew everything that has happened. Gopyo hasante papruchu Rama sandarshanadritaha kachidaste sukham Krishna purastri jana vallabha. Shivdev Goswami continued, honoring Lord Balram because they had attained his personal audience. The young gopis smiled and asked him, "Is Krishna, the darling of the city women, living happily?" Still, they have this, that he is in contact with the city women. They cannot get this thing out of their hearts. According to the Acharyas, Lord Krishna's beloved girlfriends were smiling with divine madness since they were feeling extreme unhappiness in separation from their beloved Krishna. Lord Balram deeply respected their great love for Shri Krishna, his younger brother, and thus the term Raman Sandarshana Adrita carries the meaning that Balram honored the gopis as well as the given meaning that they honored him. So it could go both ways. Kachit smarati vabandhum pitram matram cha saha apiyaso mataram drashtum sakrit apya gamishyati api vasmarate asmakam anuseva mahabhuja. Does he remember his family members, especially his father and mother? Do you think he will ever come back even once to see his mother? And does this mighty armed Krishna remember the service we always did for him? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that the gopis would render service to Lord Krishna by stringing flower garlands, skillfully using perfumes, and constructing fans, beds, and canopies out of flower petals. By these simple acts of love, the gopis rendered the greatest service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they are just asking, does he remember this? Mataram Petram Bhratrin, Tatin Putran Susrin Napi, Yadarte Jahim Dasharha, Dustyajan Swajanan Prabha, Tanah Sadhya Parityajya, Gata Sanchit Nasohrudha, Katham no Tadrisham Srivhir, Na Shradhyet Bhashitam. For Krishna's sake, O descendant of Dashar, we abandoned our mothers, fathers, brothers, husbands, children, and sisters, even though these family relations are difficult to give up. But now, O Lord, that same Krishna has suddenly abandoned us and gone away. breaking of all affectionate ties with us. And yet, how could any woman fail to trust his promises? So it's been so many years, but gopis, basically time had completely stopped for them. In the same mood, Krishna had gone, and Krishna killed Kansa, so many fights with Jarasandha, then he went to Dwarka, kidnapped Rukmani, married 16,108 queens, had children, 10 sons and one daughter with every queen. And they all, the sons all had 10 more sons and a daughter. Every son of Krishna had the same number of sons and daughters. And then he's busy making arrangements for their marriages and this and that. So many things have gone down. But here gopis are still in the same situation. Still thinking of Krishna, still waiting for him to come back. Katham no grinanti anavasthitatmano vacha krita ghanasya buddha puristiya grinanti va chitra kathasya sundara smitavalokoch vastistamara turaha smitara suturaha. How can intelligent city women possibly trust the words of one whose heart is so unsteady and who is so ungrateful? They must believe him because he speaks so wonderfully, and also because his beautiful smiling glances arouse their lust. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, some gopis speak the first two lines of this verse, and others reply in second two lines. Kim nastat kathaya gopya katha kathaya taparaha yatyasmadhir vina kalo yadi tasya tathayavana. Why bother talking about him, dear Gopi? Please talk of something else. If he passes his time without us, then we shall similarly pass ourselves without him. But it's so difficult to take him out of the heart. Srila Swami points out that the gopis here subtly indicate that Lord Krishna spends his time happily without them, whereas they are most unhappy without their Lord. This is the difference between him and them. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur adds the following commentary. Considering themselves different from other women, the gopis thought as follows. If other women are together with their lovers, they live, and if they are separated, they die. But we neither live nor die. This is a fate Providence has written on our foreheads. What remedy can we find? So they are thinking we cannot die because Krishna has promised that he will come back. And if he comes back and he doesn't find us, he will be very, very unhappy. See, just for Krishna's happiness, they're ready to do anything. They're living in the same way they're practically dead, but they are still living. Iti prahasitam shora jalpitam charu vikshitam gatim prema parishvangam smarantya rudu striya. While speaking these words, the young cowherd women remembered Lord Shori's laughter, his pleasing conversations with them, his attractive glances, his style of walking, and his loving embraces. Thus they began to cry. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments as follows. The gopis thought the Krishna moon, after piercing our hearts with the darts of his nectarian laughter, went away. So how will the city women not die when he does the same to them? Overwhelmed with these thoughts, the young cowherd girls began to cry, even in the presence of Sri Baladev. And also they're just thinking about him and thinking, see, Lord Balram, when he came, this just brought something to them. Yes, Balramji is with him all the time, and now they're maybe looking at Balramji, but thinking constantly of Krishna. I could not check their tears. Sankarshanastaha Krishnasya Sandeshar Hridayangame Santyamasa Bhagavan Nana Anunayiko Vidaha. The Supreme Lord Balram, the attractor of all, being expert at various kinds of conciliation, consoled the gopis by relaying to them the confidential messages Lord Krishna had sent with him. These messages deeply touched the gopis' hearts. Srila Jiva Goswami quotes the following words from Shri Vishnu Puran, which describes the messages Lord Balram brought from Krishna for the gopis. Lord Balram consoled the gopis by giving them Lord Krishna's most charming messages, which expressed sweet conciliation, which were inspired by his pure love for them, and which were without a tinge of pride. Srila Jiva Goswami also comments that the use of the name Sankarshan here implies that Balram attracted Lord Krishna to appear in his mind and in this way showed Sri Krishna to the gopis. Thus Balram consoled Sri Krishna's beloved girlfriends. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that Lord Krishna sent various messages. Some instructed the gopis in transcendental knowledge, others were conciliatory, still others revealed the Lord's power. Besides his given meaning, the word Hridayam Game also indicates that these messages were confidential. And that's why Balramji brought them. Actually, Krishna wanted Uddhavji to go. But Uddhavji said, I went once and I promised them that you will be coming there soon. You didn't go there, so now gopis are not going to believe me. Why would they believe me? Because you didn't keep the word. So then Balramji said, okay, I will go. They'll still believe me. Dovaso tatra chavatsin madhum madhavam cha rama kripasu bhagwan gopinam ratimavahan. Lord Balram, the personality of Godhead, resided there for 2 months of Madhu and Madhav. And during the nights, he gave his cowherd girlfriends conjugal pleasure. Srila Sridhar Swami states that the gopis who enjoyed conjugal affairs with Lord Sri Balram during his visit to Gokul had not taken part in Sri Krishna's ras dance, being too young at the time. Srila Jiva Goswami confirms this statement by quoting a verse from the Bhagavatam, Gopyo Antarena Bhujayo, which indicates that there are particular gopis who act as Lord Balram's girlfriends. Furthermore, Jiva Goswami states that during the holy festivities celebrated when Krishna killed Shankhachuda, so this will come much later, the gopis Lord Balram enjoyed with were different from the ones Lord Krishna enjoyed with. No, Shankhachuda has already been killed. Sorry. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur agrees with this explanation. So Balramji has different set of gopis. He does his Ras Leela with. And Krishna obviously has different set of gopis. Purna Chandra Kalam Rishte Kaumudi Gandhavayuna Yamano Pavane Reme Sevite Sri Ganeramrita. In the company of numerous women, Lord Balram enjoyed in a garden by the Yamuna river. This garden was bathed in the rays of full moon and caressed by breezes bearing the fragrance of night blooming lotuses. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Lord Balram's conjugal pastimes took place in a small forest alongside the Yamuna, a place known as Shri Ram Ghat, which is far from the site of Shri Krishna's Ras dance. So Ram Ghat, another beautiful place in Vrindavan, in Braj, that we need to visit. Varuna Preshita Devi, Varuni Vriksha Kotara, Patanti Tadvanam Sarvam Swagandhena Dhyavasayat. Sent by the demigod Varuna, the divine Varuni liquor flowed from a tree hollow and made the entire forest even more fragrant with its sweet aroma. Srila Sridhar Swami explains that Varuni is a liquor distilled from honey. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur adds that the goddess Varuni, the daughter of Varuna, is the presiding deity of that particular divine liquor. The Acharya also quotes the following statement from Sri Harivansha. Samipam Preshita Pitri Varunena Tavanagha. Here the goddess Varuni says to Lord Balram, my father Varuna has sent me to you, O sinless one. So Balramji had two wives actually. Revati, we read about how he married Revati, and the other is this Varuni, daughter of Varunji. Tam gandham madhudharaya vayunopaharatam balaha agnayo apagatasthatra lalanabhi samam papo. The wind carried to Balram the fragrance of that food of sweet liquor, that flood of sweet liquor. And when he smelled it, he went to the tree. There he and his female companions drank. Upagiya mano gandharvair vanita shobhi mandale reme karenu yutheshu mahendra iva varana. As the Gandharvas sang his glories, Lord Balram enjoyed within the brilliant circle of young women. He appeared just like Indra's elephant, the lordly Aravat enjoying in the company of she elephants. Nedur dundu bhayo vyomni vavrushu kusumer mrida Gandharva muneo ramam tadviryar idire tada. At that time, kettle drums resounded in the sky. The Gandharvas joyfully rained down flowers, and the great sages praised Lord Balram's heroic deeds. Upagiyamana charito vanita bhir halayudha vaneshu vyacharat kshigo madvivala lochanaha. As his deeds were sung, Lord Halayud wandered as if inebriated among the various forests with his girlfriends. His eyes rolled from the effects of the liquor. But this rolling of eyes of Lord Balram with the effect of liquor, it's not the same as people here on earth get drunk, drinking whatever nonsense they drink, and they do all sorts of nonsense activities. Huge difference. Balramji, Krishna, they are the supreme personality of Godhead. Whatever they do is transcendental. It's completely divine. Not in any of the three modes of nature. It might look like he is in ignorance or passion, but he is never in ignorance or passion. It just is pastimes. Srag vayek kundalo matto vajyantya chamalaya vibhrat smit mukham bhojam swed pralaya bhushitam. Sa ajuhav yamunam jal kridartham ishvaraha nijam vakyamana tritya matta iti apagam balaha anagatam halagrena kupito vichakarshaha. Intoxicated with joy, not with liquor, with joy. Lord Balram sported flower garlands, including the famous Vajayanti. He wore a single earring, and beads of perspiration decorated his smiling lotus face like snowflakes. The Lord then summoned the Yamuna river so that he could play in her waters, but she disregarded his command, thinking he was drunk. So Lord Balramji was in that little forest on the shore of Yamuna, on the banks of Yamuna. And he did not want, he wanted to play in Yamuna's water with his gopis. So he called Yamuna, come here. He did not want to go in the Yamuna's water. He wanted Yamuna to come there. Because he wanted the pride of Yamuna to be crushed. somehow Yamuna was very proud of. And then Yamuna ji, what she did, she thought, no, I don't want to go there because thinking he was drunk and he might just do some um, trivial playing in my waters. She was too proud of her waters. This angered Balram, and he began dragging the river with the tip of his plow. He always carries that plow, he's Haldara. So he began dragging her with the tip of his plow. And then what happened was, and in fact, at that Ramaghat, the place it is mentioned, Yamuna still flows in different streams. She doesn't flow in a full river way. Pape tvam mam avagyaya yannayasi maya huta neshe tvam langlagrena shatadha kamacharini. Lord Balram said, "O sinful one, disrespecting me, you do not come when I call you, but rather move only by your own whim. Therefore, with the tip of my plow, I shall bring you here in 100 streams." So she still flows in 100 streams at that location. Evam nirbhitar svita bhita yamuna yadu nandanam uvacha chakita vacham patita padayor nripa. Shukdev Goswami continued. Thus scolded by the Lord of King, the frightened river goddess Yamuna came and fell at the feet of Shri Balram, the beloved descendant of Yadu. Trembling, she spoke to him the following words. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the goddess who appeared before Lord Balram is an expansion of Srimati Kalindi, one of Lord Krishna's queens in Dwarka. Srila Jiva Goswami calls her a shadow of Kalindi, and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirms that she is an expansion of Kalindi, not Kalindi herself. Srila Jiva Goswami also gives evidence from Sri Harivansha in the statement Pratyuvacharano Vadhum. The goddess Yamuna is a wife of the ocean. Harivansha therefore also refers to her as Sagar Angana. Sagar Angana. So her shadow or her expansion came and bowed down at the lotus feet of Shri Balramji. Ram Ram Mahabaho Najane Tav Vikramam Yasya Kanchena Vidhrita Jagatah Pate. Goddess Yamuna said, Ram Ram, O mighty armed one, I know nothing of your prowess. With a single portion of yourself, you hold up the earth, O Lord of the universe. The phrase Ekam Shena with a single portion refers to Lord's expansion as Shesha, Sheshanag. This is confirmed by the Acharyas. Param Bhavam Bhagavato Bhagwan Mam Ajanatim Moktum Arhasi Vishwatman Prapannam Bhaktavatsalah. My Lord, please release me, O soul of the universe. I didn't understand your position as a supreme Godhead. But now I have surrendered unto you, and you are always kind to your devotees. Tato vyamunchadyam munam yachito bhagwan bala vijagaha jalam sribhi kareno bhir ive bharat. Shukdev Goswami continued. Thereupon Lord Balram released Yamuna, and like the king of the elephants with his entourage of she-elephants, entered the river's water with his female companions. Kamam virhitya salilad uttirnaya sitambare bhushanani maharhanahani dado kanti shubham srijam. The Lord played in the water to his full satisfaction, and when he came out, Goddess Kanti presented him with blue garments, precious ornaments, and a brilliant necklace. Srila Sridhar Swami quotes from the Vishnu Puran to show that the goddess Kanti mentioned here is actually Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune. Sent by Varuna, goddess Lakshmi then presented him with a garland of unfaded lotuses and a pair of garments colored blue like the ocean. The great Bhagavatam commentator Shirashida Swami also quotes the following statement from Sri Harivansha, spoken by Goddess Lakshmi to Lord Balram. O Lord, please accept as divine ornaments for your ears the single gold earring, studded with diamonds and the primeval lotus called Padma. Kindly accept them, for this kind of adornment is traditional. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur further points out that Goddess Lakshmi is a consort of Lord's plenary expansion, Sankarshan, who belongs to the second Vyuha. So here it is said that Lord Balram, and earlier also it was mentioned, that Lord Balram wears earring in only one ear. So we think all these hippies, where they get when they do all this different kind of wear different jewelry and this one ear, it all comes from Balramji. Original is there and we just make it a perverted thing. Vasitva vasasi nile mala mamuchya kanchani reye svalankrito lipto mahendra eva varana. Lord Balram dressed himself in the blue garments and put on gold necklace. Anointed with fragrances and beautifully adorned, he appeared as resplendent as Indra's royal elephant. Anointed with sandalwood paste and other pure fragrant substances, Lord Balram resembled Aravat, the great elephant of Lord Indra. Balramji's bodily color is white, pure as milk foam, as that white. And Aravat is also white in color. And Balramji always wears blue garments, dhoti and chadar. In fact, Radharani also always wears blue. Why blue? Because this blue reminds them of Krishna. And Krishna wears yellow, because that yellow reminds him of Radharani. Radharani is Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. Her bodily color is like molten gold. So yellow comes close to that, and that reminds him of Radharani all the time. Adyapi drishyate rajan yamana krishtavartamana alasyan ananta viryasya viryam suchyati vahi. Even today, O king, one can see how the Yamuna flows through the many channels created when it was dragged by the unlimitedly powerful Lord Balram. Thus she demonstrates his prowess. So his strength and his powers are also to be shown to the world. And this was a beautiful pastime to show that. There's another pastime that will come later, and Lord Balram shows his strength. Evam sarva nishayata ekaiva ramato vraje ramasya kshipta chittasya madhuryar brajyoshitam. Thus for Lord Balram all the nights passed like a single night as he enjoyed in Braja. His mind enchanted by the exquisite charm and beauty of Raja's young ladies. Lord Balram was enchanted by the charming pastimes of the beautiful young ladies of Braja. Thus each night was a completely new experience, and all the nights passed as if they were a single night. So thus ends the purpose to 10th canto, 65th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Balram Visits Vrindavan. So if there's any questions or comments, we'll stop there. Otherwise, we can take up next chapter. Okay, we'll start the next chapter, chapter 66, Andrak, the false Vasudeva. This is a funny story, very, very funny story. Shri Shukvacha Nandavrajam Gate Rame Karushadhi Patir Nripa Vasudevo Aham Ityagyo Dutam Krishnaya Prahinot. Shukdev Goswami said, O king, while Lord Balram was away visiting Nanda's village of Braja, the ruler of Karusha, foolishly thinking, I am the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, sent a messenger to Lord Krishna. So he was thinking, not just thinking, he was saying, he believed it. He said, I am the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. He is a king of city of Karusha. And he sent a messenger to Krishna. See, people can get really illusioned and then they think that they are Lord. Since Lord Ram had gone to Nandavraja, Pandrak foolishly thought that Lord Krishna would be alone and therefore easy to challenge. Thus he dared to send his crazy message to the Lord. Tvam Vasudevo Bhagavan avatirane jagatpati iti prastobhito bala mena atmanamachyutam. Pandrak was emboldened by the flattery of childish men who told him, You are Vasudeva, the Supreme Lord and Master of the universe, who have now descended to the earth. Thus he imagined himself to be the infallible personality of Godhead. Pandrak foolishly accepted the flattery of ignorant persons. So why people like this, they accept the flattery of ignorant person? People will always be flattering to somebody who's powerful, more powerful than them. But why people accept the flattery? Because it's in their heart. They want to hear these things. And they want to behave like here. Pandrak's followers say, oh, you are Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are Vasudeva. Nobody else is. Krishna, as we know of Krishna, he is an impostor. You are the real thing. And then he started believing that. Why? If somebody tells us, we will not believe. We know what the truth is. Because it's in his heart. And when somebody has some consciousness like that, then they start listening to people like that. And then they start believing. And then they act on that matter. And then, obviously, Krishna will crush the pride sooner or later. Dutam cha prahinonmadda Krishnaya vyaktavartamane dvarkayam yatha balo dripo balakrito abuddha. The slow-witted King Pandrak sent a messenger to the inscrutable Lord Krishna at Dwarka. Pandrak was acting just like an unintelligent child whom other children are pretending is a king. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the reason Shukdev Goswami has mentioned for the second time that Pandrak sent a message to Lord Krishna is that the great sage is astonished at Pandrak's extreme foolishness. How foolish he is. How can he even think? And then on top of it, he sent a message to Krishna. There was an incident in 70s, early 70s, I believe, that some devotees, some Prabhupada disciples, they started spreading this news or message that Srila Prabhupada is Krishna. That Krishna has come as Prabhupada to deliver all of us. And Prabhupada got so angry at all of them. He was so enraged. He was like, where in the books it says that, what kind of philosophy is that? This nonsense philosophy. And he was so angry at them. Then first they all had to come and ask for forgiveness. And then Prabhupada, there was just a group of devotees and Prabhupada dispersed them. Okay, one devotee goes to this city, one devotee goes here. So they won't be together and spreading this nonsense. Prabhupada always maintained that. Because this is This tends to be the Mayavad philosophy that we are God, everybody is God, you are God, I am God. It's nonsense. We are never God, we'll never be God, we'll never become God. And Prabhupada wanted to make sure that through his books, through his philosophy, through his example, his instructions, it is completely clear in our thick skull. But here Andrak started thinking, he is God, he is Krishna. Text 4. Dutastu dvarka metya sabhayama sitam Krishnam kamalapatraksham rajasandesham abravit. Arriving in Dwarka, the messenger found lotus-eyed Krishna in his royal assembly and relayed the king's message to that almighty Lord. Vasudeva avatirno aham eka eva na chaparaha bhutanam anukampartham tvam tu mithya bidham tyaja. On Pandrak's behalf, the messenger said, I am the only one and only Lord Vasudeva, and there is no other. It's I who have descended to this world to show mercy to the living beings. Therefore, give up your false name. Inspired by Goddess Saraswati, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a real import of these two verses. So, the real meaning by Acharyas is, I'm not Vasudeva incarnate, but rather you alone, and no one else are Vasudeva. Since you have descended to show mercy to the living beings, please make me give up my false designation, which is like an oyster claiming to be silver. The Supreme Lord will certainly comply with this request. So, oyster claiming to be silver. There's some shine on the oyster shell, but it's not silver. It's not real silver. It's just some shine. That's all. Yani tvam asmat chinhani modyad vibharshi satvatan tyaktvahi mam tvam sharanam na no chedehi mamahavam. O Sattvat, give up my personal symbols, which out of foolishness you now carry, and come to me for shelter. If you don't, then you must give me battle. So symbols are Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur again interprets Pandrak's words according to the inspiration of Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Thus, they may be understood to mean, out of foolishness, I have assumed an imitation conch shell, disc, lotus, and club, and you are maintaining these by allowing me to use them. You have not yet subdued me and gotten rid of these imitation symbols. Therefore, please mercifully come and liberate me by forcing me to give them up. Give me battle and grant me liberation by killing me. Shri Shukuvacha, Kathanam tadupakarnya, Pandrakasyalpa medasaha, Ugrasena daya sabhyaha, Uchakar jahas sustada. Shukdev Goswami said, King Ugrasen and the other members of assembly laughed loudly when they heard this vain boasting of unintelligent Andrak. Uvacha dutam bhagavan parihasa kathamanu utsrakshe mood chinani yastvam evam vikathase. The personality of Godhead, after enjoying the jokes of the assembly, told the messenger to relay a message to his master. You fool, I'll indeed let loose the weapons you boast of in this way. So weapons, Pandrak sent a message that Krishna should get rid of these weapons, the things that he carries. So actually what had happened was, Pandrak, obviously his friends or his people, they have told him, you are Vasudeva. So what he did, he was carrying these two extra imitation hands, because Lord has four hands, and he was carrying Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma in those four hands. Now, two original hands and two imitation hands. So imitation hands are just like in a drama, a player gets those sometimes, imitation hands. So he used to carry this Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma in all the four hands, and obviously his people who were buttering him up, they would say, "Oh, you are the real Lord. Krishna is a fake Lord." The Sanskrit word utrakshe means I will hurl, throw, let loose, abandon, etc. Foolish Pandrak demanded that Lord Krishna give up his powerful weapons such as disc and the club. And here the Lord replies, "Yes, fool, I'll indeed let loose those weapons when we meet on the battlefield." In Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada describes when all the members of the royal assembly, including King Ugrasena, heard this message sent by Pandrak, they laughed very loudly for a considerable time. After enjoying the loud laughter of all the members of the assembly, Krishna replied to the messenger as follows: "O messenger of Pandrak, you may carry my message to your master. You are a foolish rascal. I'll directly call you a rascal and refuse to follow your instructions. I shall never give up the symbols of Vasudeva, especially my disc. I shall use this disc to kill not only you, but all your followers also. I shall destroy you and your foolish associates who merely constitute a society of cheaters and the cheated." So pretty harsh message he's sending back to God, to the imitation God. Mukham tad abhidhayagya kankagridha vatera vrtaha shayishyase hatastatra bhavita sharanam chunam. When you lie dead, O fool, your face covered by vultures, herons, and water birds, you will become the shelter of dogs. Pandrak foolishly told the Supreme Lord to come to him for shelter. But here Lord Krishna tells him, "You're not my shelter, but rather you will become the shelter of dogs when they happily feast on your dead body." Srila Prabhupada describes this scene as follows. Lord Krishna told Pandrak, "When I shall destroy you, O foolish king, you will have to conceal your face in disgrace. And when your head is severed from your body by my disc, you will be surrounded by meat-eating birds like vultures, hawks, and eagles. At that time, instead of becoming my shelter as you have demanded, you will be subjected to the mercy of these low-born birds. At that time, your body will be thrown to the dogs who will eat it with great pleasure." Iti dutastamākshepam swamine sarvam aharata Krishno api ratham asthaya kashim upajagamaha. When the Lord had thus spoken, the messenger conveyed his insulting reply to his master in its entirety. Lord Krishna then mounted his chariot and went to the city of Kashi. So Mandrak was in the city of Kashi, as Kashi Raj. In Krishna book, Prabhupada describes this as follows. The messenger carried the words of Lord Krishna to his master Pandrak, who patiently heard all these insults. Without waiting any longer, Lord Shri Krishna immediately started out in his chariot to punish the rascal Andrak, the king of Karusha. So Karusha is the same as Kashi. Because at that time he was living with his king of Karusha, but at that time he was living with his friend, the king of Kashi. Krishna surrounded the whole city of Kashi. So Kashi is a very, very old city. So Krishna has come here. So I guess we can stop here and take up this fighting tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
The Pandrak incident I have seen on serials also. It was quite funny the way he represented himself as Lord Krishna himself, the Supreme Personality of God. So
Yeah, even Krishna was laughing when he
yeah,
said all these things.
and he was acted like it showed in the serial also. He acted like a joker because he used to do all naughty activities. So yeah.
Yep. Chalo, so we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai
Hare
Shri.
Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.